Yo, YouTube. Obviously, y'all can tell where I'm at, so y'all know what time it is. In this Palo Santo, right? Oh, yeah. I don't know if y'all see my video last night, but I said I'm going to consciously apply effort to make sure y'all post, not post, share, subscribe, and like, comment. Let me know what's going on, man. I got any suggestions, anything y'all want to hear? Financially, personally. I feel like I'm going to start getting a good routine of exactly what I want to deliver to y'all. Try to switch it up. As y'all notice, I did my whiteboard with waters. If y'all did see that, forgive me. Like I said, the words will not be reversed next time. It will be better, more clear. It'll be definitely legible for you. So thank y'all for bearing with me on that first run with my whiteboards with water. Go check that video out as well. I feel like it was very, 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 very beneficial, in my opinion. Pretty much describing why people are coming up last financially in their life. So I won't spoil it, but yeah. I gave y'all some tidbits on how to not come up last in your life financially. You're coming up last in your life if you feel like you never have the energy to do what you love. Most people think, well, I don't have the money, but you can get more money back, but you can't get more energy back, essentially, because every day you're getting older, you're dying, so you can't get time back. So you have to do things that make you feel like, you know what? I'm spending my energy and my time wisely. Okay, yeah, that thing smoking. That thing smoking. Have to buy me some candles. But yes, y'all know what time it is. It's that time of the day, of the week. I have not got a set day to do the books in bed. It really just depends on how my day is going. How my day is going prior to doing the videos. But yes, that thing smoking. My bad, y'all. I don't want that to interrupt the way y'all are viewing this. Let me move this little piece of blind out the way. But I don't like the way that's getting in the camera, so let me fix that for y'all. But yeah, man, how's everybody week going? Hope everybody enjoyed the week. First week of November, man. The first week of November. I hope everybody is feeling encouraged, feeling inspired. And if you're not, hope you're dealing with that. You have someone to talk to about your feelings, someone to, sit there with you and actually be an ear for you to talk into, somebody that can really just ingest what you have to say. And think a lot of times we need somebody that just doesn't have an answer. They're just there just to absorb it, which is a difficult task too, especially if you are in a tough place in your life and you're just like spilling over a whole bunch of emotions and thoughts. But it's better to get it out than to, keep it in. It's definitely toxic and cancerous by being like that. But yeah, y'all know what it is. We're right back at it. We finishing this book. I think we got 3 more chapters, man. We going along, getting it. And then after that, I got books for better living for this, and then I'll figure out what other books in bed I want to do for y'all. But I'm going to start continuing to make all of the book thumbnails or the thumbnails for these book embeds the same. So I'm going to take one and I'm going to just change the episode on it so we can get so y'all can go and see which order to watch them in. And yeah, I'm going to definitely give it a better ambiance. And I'm thinking when I get my studio, when I start reading in the studio with the ambiance in the bed, and I'll change it up for y'all to give it more of a vibe. Thought I had one of my bookmarks in here. Oh, there it is. So I know I had a bookmark in here. For y'all don't know, I had these bookmarks. Instead of having bookmarks, I call them bookmarks. This is a throwback one though. I found this one in another book. It was hella throwback. This one I first started writing on my money and manifesting, and it's like self-mastery. And this was way back in the day. It was like I would turn this dollar into $10,000 I think by 2023 it says, and I did that so many times. It's crazy, bro. I done had $10,000 checks so many times since then. It's amazing, man, how like belief and manifestation works. So like even my kids, like my daughter, she still likes cars. She keeps cars, so I got a car. But my son, he's adopting the money mentality like me, and I really just try to have that type of conversation with him. My daughter as well, both of my kids, but even for my son, like I give him birthday money and I give him a birthday card, but I give him $1 and I write on it like I write on the card, and I'm like, you can spend other money, but don't spend this. This is your card right here, just to keep that in you, just to keep that. I think a lot of times, and not to run off on a tangent, a lot of times people are poor when they're growing up, especially I'm gonna speak for like black folks and stuff, and maybe even Latinos as well, Latinx people. It's like your parents made money so taboo that you never knew how to really use money because you never had a lot of it because they made money seem like it was something that only adults have. So it's like expecting you to know how to play basketball, but you never held the ball. It's like, well, how can I get good at something that I've never had the experience to work with? So I make sure I try to relate every lesson and show the connection between life and everyday life and the lessons in life and show how it's related to wealth and value and money and cash and revenue and leverage and capital and all of those different terms. So hence why another reason why for my son, I give him money cards and it's literally money, and I write some like same loving words and real true words that I feel about him that I write on the card, I write it on the money. But yeah, this is a throwback one, y'all. I wish I get so old I can't even see it, but I know it says the $10,000 on there. Y'all can't see it though. I don't know if y'all can see it on there, but in the camera. But if y'all see that, y'all can see it. You see where it says that right there, the 10,000, and then it says the date by, I think January something 2023 or something like that. That's just crazy. I done made that $10,000 so many times already. So many checks that were $10,000. So it's real. But anyway, yeah, I got the bookmark. I got the page. Let's get into this thing, man. I always like to try to break the little, not break the ice, but come into it. I know y'all be seeing me in all these different color sweatshirts and stuff. But y'all, I don't be going nowhere. Y'all I work from home. All my money be made from the crib, so I just be vibing, smelling fresh. Don't be going nowhere. But yeah, let's get it, y'all. We in the Camel Trader of Babylon. The Camel Trader of Babylon. The hungrier one becomes, the clearer one's mind works. Also, the more sensitive one becomes to the odors of food. Tarkat, the son of Azur, certainly thought so. For 2 whole days he had tasted no food except 2 small figs purloined from over the wall of a garden. Not another could he grab before the angry woman rushed forth and chased him down the street. Her shrill cries were still ringing in his ears, and he walked through the marketplace. They helped him restrain his restless fingers from snatching the tempting fruits from the baskets of the market woman. Never before had he realized how much food was brought to the markets of Babylon and how good it smelled. Leaving the market, he walked across to the inn and paced back and forth in front of the eating house. Perhaps here he might meet someone he knew, someone from whom he could borrow a copper that would gain him a smile from the unfriendly keeper of the inn, and with it a liberal helping. Without the copper, he knew all too well how unwelcome he would be. In his abstraction, he unexpectedly found himself face to face with the one man he wished most to avoid, the tall, bony figure of Dabasir, the camel trader. Of all of the friends, others from whom he had borrowed small sums, Dabasir made him feel the most uncomfortable because his failure to keep his promises to repay promptly. Dabasir's face lighted up at the sight of him. Ha! 'Tis Tarkat, just the one I've been seeking, that he may repay the 2 pieces of copper which I lent him a moon ago. Also the piece of silver which I lent to him before that. We all well met. I can make good use of the coins this very day. What say, boy? What say? My man's pushed up on him quick, but he ain't forget about him on me. But that's a lesson, though. If you want somebody to leave you alone, have them owe you some money, boy, and I guarantee you won't hear from them again. Then get it, Dabasir insisted. Surely thou canst get a hold of a few coppers and a piece of silver to repay the generosity of an old friend of thy father who aided thee whence thou wast in need. 'Tis because ill fortune does pursue me that I cannot pay. Our fortune, wouldst blame the gods for thine own weakness? Our fortune pursues every man who thinks more of borrowing than of repaying. Dang. Come with me, boy, while I eat. I am hungry, and I will tell thee a tale. Tarkat flinched from the brutal frankness of Dabasir, but here at least was an invitation to enter the coveted doorway of the eating house. Dabasir pushed him to a far corner of the room where they seated themselves upon small rugs. When Koskor, the proprietor, appeared smiling, Dabasir addressed him with his usual freedom. Fat lizard of the desert, bring me a leg of the goat, very brown with much juice and bread and all of the vegetables, for I am hungry and want much food. Do not forget my friend here. Bring him a jug of water. Have it cooled, for the day is hot. Tarkat's heart sank. Must he sit here and drink water while he watched this man devour an entire goat leg? He said nothing. He thought of nothing he could say. Facts, he gave you some water, you owe that man some money. Dabasir, however, knew no such thing as silence. Smiling and waving his hand good-naturedly to the other customers, all of whom he knew him, he continued. I did hear from a traveler just returned from Urfa of a certain rich man who has a piece of stone cut so thin that one can look through it. He put it in the window of his house to keep out the rains. It is yellow, so the traveler does relate, and he was permitted to look through it, and all the outside world looks strange and not like it really is. What say you to that, Tarkat? Think us all the world could look to a man of a different color from what it is. Hold on real quick, I'm gonna blow this candle out. I dare say, responded the youth, much more interested in the fact let a goat placed before the Dabasir. Well, I know it is to be true, for I myself have seen the world all a different color from what it really is, and the tale I am about to tell relates how I came to see it in its right color once more. Dabasir would tell a tale, whispered a neighboring diner to his neighbor, and dragged his rug close. Other diners brought their food and crowded in a semicircle. They crunched noisily in the ears of Tarkat and brushed him with their meaty bones. He alone was without food. Dabasir did not offer to share with them, nor even motion him to a small corner of the hard bread that was broken off and had fallen from the platter to the floor. Damn, fried his ass. The tale that I'm about to tell, began Dabasir, pausing to bite a goodly chunk from the goat leg, relates to my early life and how I came to be a camel trader. Does anyone know that I once was a slave in Syria? A murmur of surprise ran through the audience, to which Dabasir listened with satisfaction. When I was a young man, continued Dabasir after another vicious onslaught on the goat leg, I learned the trade of my father, the making of saddles. I worked with him in his shop and took myself a wife. Being young and not greatly skilled, I could earn but little, just enough to support my excellent wife in a modest way. I craved good things which I could not afford. Soon I found that the shopkeepers would trust me to pay later, even though I could not pay at the time. Being young and without experience, I did not know that he who spends more than he earns is sowing the winds of needless self-indulgence, from which he is sure to reap the whirlwinds of trouble and humiliation. Damn, that man said, being young and without experience, I did not know that he who spends more than he earns is sowing the winds of needless self-indulgence, from which he is sure to reap the whirlwinds of trouble and humiliation. So I indulged my whims for fine raiment and bought luxuries for my good wife and our home beyond our means. I paid as I could, and for a while all went well. But in time, I discovered I could not use my earnings both to live upon and to pay my debts. Creditors began to pursue me to pay for my extravagant purchase, and my life became miserable. I borrowed from my friends but could not repay them either. Things went from bad to worse. My wife returned to her father, and I decided to leave Babylon and seek another city where a young man might have better chances. For 2 years, I led a restless and unsuccessful life working for caravan traders. From this, I fell in with a set of likable robbers who scoured the desert for unarmed caravans. Such deeds were unworthy of the son of my father, but I was seeing the world through a colored stone and did not realize to what degradation I had fallen. We met with success on our first trip, capturing a rich haul of gold and silks and valuable merchandise. This loot we took to Ganir and squandered. The second time we were not so fortunate. Just after we had made our capture, we were attacked by the spearsmen of a native chief to whom the caravans paid for protection. Our two leaders were killed, and the rest of us were taken to Damascus, where we were stripped of our clothing and sold as slaves. I was purchased for 2 pieces of silver by a Syrian desert chief. With my hair shorn but a loincloth to wear, I was not so different from the other slaves. Being a reckless youth, I thought it merely an adventure until my master took me before his 4 wives and told them they can have me for a eunuch. Dang. Then indeed did I realize the hopelessness of my situation. These men of the desert were fierce and warlike. I was subject to their will without weapons or means of escape. Fearful I stood as those 4 women looked me over. I wondered if I could expect pity from them. Sarah, the first wife, was older than the others. Her face was impassive as though she looked upon me. I turned from her with little consolation. The next was a contemptuous beauty who gazed at me as indifferently as if I had been a worm of the earth. The 2 younger ones tittered as though it were all an exciting joke. It seemed an age that I stood waiting sentence. Each woman appeared willing for the others to decide. Finally, Sarah spoke up in a cold voice. Of eunuchs we have plenty, but of camel tenders we have few, and they are a worthless lot. Even this day I would visit my mother who is sick with a fever, and there is no slave I would trust to lead my camel. Ask this slave if he can lead a camel. My master thereupon questioned me, what you know of camels. Striving to conceal my eagerness, I replied, I can make them kneel, I can load them, I can lead them on long trips without tiring. If need be, I can repair their trappings. The slave speaks forward enough, observed my master. If thou so desires, Sarah, take this man for thy camel tender. So I was turned over to Sarah, and that day I led her camel upon a long journey to her sick mother. I took the occasion to thank her for her intercession and also to tell her that I was not a slave by birth, but the son of a free man and honorable saddle maker of Babylon. I also told her much of my story. Her comments were disconcerting to me, and I pondered much afterwards on what she said. How can you call yourself a free man when your wickedness has brought you to this? If a man has in himself the soul of a slave, will he not become one no matter what his birth, even as water seeks its level? Damn, that's crazy. If a man has within him the soul of a free man, will he not become respected and honored if in his own city in spite of his misfortune? Damn, I gotta read that one back, boy. She dropped some bars on that one. She said, how can you call yourself a free man when your weakness has brought you to this? If a man has in himself the soul of a slave, will he not become one no matter what his birth, even as water seeks its level? If a man has within him the soul of a free man, will he not become respected and honored in his own city in spite of his misfortune? For over a year I was a slave and lived with the slaves, but I could not become as one of them. One day Sarah asked me, in the evening time, when the other slaves can mingle and enjoy the society of each other, why dost sit in thy tent alone? To which I responded, I am pondering what you have said to me. I wonder if I have the soul of a slave. I cannot join them, so I must sit apart. I too must sit apart, she confided. My dowry was large, and my Lord married me because of it. Yet he does not desire me. What every woman longs for is to be desired. Because of this, and because I am barren and have neither son nor daughter, must I sit apart. Where I am a man, I would rather die than be such a slave. But the conversations of our tribes make slaves of women. What thou me by this time? I asked her suddenly, have I the soul of a man or have I the soul of a slave? Have you desired to repay the just debts you owe in Babylon? She parried. Yes, I have the desire, but I see no way. If thou continually let the years slip by and make no effort to repay, then thou hast but the contemptible soul of a slave. No man is otherwise who cannot respect himself, and no man can respect himself who does not repay honest debts. Ain't that the fact, boy? She ain't lying, boy. Got to get out that bad debt to get in that good debt. But what can I do who am I a slave in Syria? Stay a slave in Syria, thou weakling. I am not a weakling, I did not hotly. Then prove it. How? Does not thy not great king fight his enemies in every way he can and with every force he has? Thy debts are thy enemies. They run thee out of Babylon. Thy debts are thy enemies. They run thee out of Babylon. You left them alone, and they grew too strong for thee. Hast fought them as the man, thou couldst have conquered them and been one honored among thy townspeople. But thou had not the soul to fight them, and behold, thy pride has gone down until thou art a slave in Syria. Much I thought over her unkind accusations, and many defensive phrases I worded to prove myself not a slave at heart, but I was not to have the chance to use them. 3 days later, the maid of Sarah took me to meet her mistress. My mother is again very sick, she said. Saddle the 2 best camels in my husband's herd. Tie on water skins and saddle bags for a long journey. The maid will give thee food at the kitchen tent. I packed the camels, wondering much at the quantity of provisions the maid provided, for the mother dwelt less than a day's journey away. Damn. The maid rode the rear camel which followed, and I led the camel of my mistress. When we reached her mother's house, it was just dark. Sarah dismissed the maid and said to me, Dabizet, hast thou the soul of a free man or the soul of a slave? The soul of a free man, I insisted. Now is thy chance to prove it. Thy master hath embedded deeply, and his chiefs are in a stupor. Take then these camels and make thy escape. Here in this bag is raiment of thy masters to disguise thee. I will say thou stole the camels and ran away while I visited my sick mother. Thou hast the soul of a queen, I told her. Much do I wish that I might lead thee to happiness. Happiness, she responded, waste not the runaway wife who seeks it in far lands among strange people. Go thy own way, and may the gods of the desert protect thee, for the way is far and barren of food or water. I needed no further urging, but thanked her warmly and was away into the night. I knew not this strange country and had only a dim idea of the direction in which lay Babylon, but struck out bravely across the desert toward the hills. One camel I rode and the other I led. All that night I traveled, and all the next day, urged on by the knowledge of the terrible fate that was meted out to slaves who stole their master's property and tried to escape. Later that afternoon, I reached a rough country as uninhabitable as the desert. The sharp rocks bruised the feet of my faithful camels, and soon they were picking their way slowly and painfully along. I met neither man nor beast, and could well understood why they shunned this inhospitable land. It was such a journey from then on as few men lived to tell of. Day after day we plodded along. Food and water gave out. The heat of the sun was merciless. At the end of the 9th day, I slid from the back of my mount with the feeling that I was too weak to ever remount, and I would surely die lost in an abandoned country. Damn, 9 days. I stretched out upon the ground and slept, not waking until the first gleam of daylight. I sat up and looked about me. There was a coolness in the morning's air. My camels lay dejected not far away. About me was a vast waste of broken country covered with rock, sand, and thorny things, no sign of water, not to eat for a man or a camel. Could it be that in this peaceful quiet I had faced my end? My mind was clearer than it had ever been before. My body now seemed of little importance. My parched and bleeding lips, my dry and swollen tongue, my empty stomach, all had lost their supreme agonies of the day before. I looked across into the uninviting distance, and once again came to me the question, have I the soul of a slave or the soul of a free man? Then with clearness, I realized that if I had the soul of a slave, I should give up, lie down in the desert and die, a fitting end for a runaway slave. But if I had the soul of a free man, what then? Surely I would force my way back to Babylon, repay the people who had trusted me, bring happiness to my wife who truly loved me, and bring peace and contentment to my parents. Thy debts are thine enemies who have run thee out of Babylon, Sarah had said. Yes, it was so. Why had I refused to stand my ground like a man? Why had I permitted my wife to go back to her father? Then a strange thing happened. All the world seemed to be a different color, as though I had been looking at it through a colored stone which had suddenly been removed. At last I saw the true values in life. Die in the desert, not I. With a new vision, I saw the things that I must do. First, I would go back to Babylon and face every man to whom I owed an unpaid debt. I should tell them that after years of wandering and misfortune, I had to come back to pay my debts as fast as the gods would permit. Next, I should make it home for my wife and become a citizen of whom my parents should be proud. My debts were my enemies, but the men I owed were my friends, for they had trusted me and believed in me. I staggered weakly to my feet. What mattered hunger? What mattered thirst? They were but incidents on the road to Babylon. Within me surged the soul of a free man going back to conquer his enemies and reward his friends. I thrilled with the great resolve. The glazed eyes of my camels brightened at the new note in my husky voice. With great effort, after many attempts, they gained their feet. With pitiful perseverance, they pushed on towards the north, where something within me said we would find Babylon. We found water. We passed into a more fertile country where were grass and fruit. We found the trail to Babylon because the soul of a free man looks at life as a series of problems to be solved and solves them, while the soul of a slave whines, what can I do who am but a slave? Damn. He said, because the soul of a free man looks at life as a series of problems to be solved and solves them, while the soul of a slave whines. That's crazy, y'all. What do you have? Do you have a soul of a slave or the soul of a free woman or free man? Do you face your problems and whine about what things are or what things should be, instead of facing what things are and embracing what things are and going after what things are from a perfect perspective, not having a perfect situation? That is powerful. A free man looks at life's problems as just something to be solved, y'all. I love that. That's beautiful. How about thee, Tarkat? Dost thy empty stomach make thy head exceedingly clear? Art ready to take the road that leads back to self-respect? Canst thou see the world in its true color? Hast thou the desire to pay thy honest debts, however many they may be, and once again be a man respected in Babylon? Moisture came to the eyes of the youth. He rose eagerly to his knees. Thou hast shown me a vision. Already I feel the soul of a free man surge within me. But how far are you upon your return? Questioned an interested listener. Where the determination is, the way can be found. The Debassar replied, I now have the determination, so I set out to find a way. First, I visited every man to whom I was indebted and begged his indulgence until I could earn that with which to repay. Most of them met me gladly. Several reviled me, but others offered to help me. One indeed did give me the very help I needed. It was Mathan, the gold lender. Learning that I had been a camel tender in Syria, he sent me to Nebator, the camel trader, just commissioned by our good king to purchase many herds of sound camels for the great expedition. With him, my knowledge of camels I put to good use. Gradually, I was able to repay every copper and every piece of silver. Then at last I could hold up my head and feel that I was an honorable man among men. Again, Dabasir turned to his food. Koskor, thou snail, he called loudly to be heard in the kitchen. The food is cold. Bring me more meat fresh from the roasting. Bring thou also a very large portion for Tarkat, the son of my old friend, who is hungry and shall eat with me. So ended the tale of Dabasir, the camel trader of old Babylon. He found his own soul when he realized a great truth, a truth that had been known and used by wise men long before his time. It has led men of all ages out of difficulties and to success, and it will continue to do so for those who have the wisdom to understand its magic power. It is for any man to use who reads these lines. Where the determination is, the way can be found. Wow. That is a powerful, y'all. That is powerful, powerful, powerful. That is so powerful. We got one more, I think. One more, luckiest man. Because there's another chapter in here, but it's not the same, so I won't go that one. I'm gonna just give y'all the real jewels in here. But that is powerful. Where the determination is, the way can be found. What is it, y'all? Let me go. Where the determination is, the way can be found. And that's how we have to look at our lives, y'all. We have to look at all of the problems that we have, and we have to decide if we would look at this as a problem and just let it defeat us, or we would see this as a solution. Because at the end of the day, you were given problems in your life before you were even born. You inherited problems. You inherited generational curses. You inherited generational curses that are really blessings in disguise, really solutions in disguise. So perspective will help you battle and help you defeat these problems and these situations that come up in your life. Ones that you were born with, ones that you have no control over, and ones that you've made because of the choices you made in your past and the life that you made, and ones that will be in your future, and it will prep you. So today's problems, if looked at in the right perspective, will prepare you for tomorrow's problems, and also will prepare you for tomorrow's solutions. Because once you become a person who's solution oriented, then you start to use that for all things. Like they say, the way you treat one thing most likely is how you treat all things. So if you look at things and you say, oh man, this is a problem, what I'm going to do, I'm frustrated, I'm stuck, and then you keep having that mentality, you're going to keep finding more problems for yourself because you're not looking at everything for a solution. If you bring solutions to your life, most likely you won't bring problems because you're being preventative, you're being proactive, you're thinking about solving life because you realize life in itself is already something that has to be solved if you know how to live in the flow of who you are. So I hope that helped y'all. We're almost done with this. Here, go tap in with the other Richest Man in Babylon books and bed readings that I had read in the past. Go tap into the other videos that I have done. Very, very beneficial. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Sharing is caring. And when you're caring, you're sharing. I said I'm going to try to say it 3 times, but I said it twice. I'm only at it twice. So much love. I appreciate y'all again, man. Much, much love. I will be coming back again with more things for you. More whiteboards with waters, more books and beds, more books for better living, more money mukbangs. Have several different things I want to put in a lineup for the Words by Waters or the JB Waters. Channel, man. The channel. So appreciate y'all. Much love. Stay well, be conscious, and remember to write your world into existence.